Something Queer is Going On, a Mystery by Elizabeth Levy, illustrated by Mordicai Gerstein. One day, Jill came home and Fletcher wasn't there. This is Jill. This is Fletcher's absence. Jill asked Linda, the woman who took care of her during the day, "Have you seen Fletcher?" This is Linda. He was sitting there on the front steps around lunchtime," said Linda. "Have you seen him since?" asked Jill. I haven't looked for him," said Linda. Jill went outside to look around, and she ran into her friend Gwen. "Hey," she said, "I can't find Fletcher." This is Gwen. She's saying, "I can't find Fletcher." "What do you mean?" asked Gwen. "Your dog never needs finding. He never goes anywhere." "Well, but that's the point," said Jill. "He wasn't in front of the house when I got home." Fletcher was not the kind of dog to run away. In fact, Fletcher hardly moved at all. This is Fletcher lying on the front steps. This is the top view lying down at Fletcher. His tail not wagging. This is the front view of him lying down and a side view. Every day Jill came home, Fletcher got up off the steps, wagged his tail. This was exercise to Fletcher. This is what he looks like when he's standing. Close up of the wagging tail. And this is a tail wagging. And this is what he looks like standing. "Maybe something queer is going on," said Gwen. "Do you think somebody snatched Fletcher?" she asked. And she began to tap on her braces. Tap, 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 tap. "Don't be silly. What would somebody want Fletcher for?" "I don't know, but it seems weird to me. Look, I know you love mysteries, but that doesn't help me find Fletcher." "We'll get to the bottom of this. I'll help you," said Gwen. "Stop tapping and do something," shouted Jill. All afternoon, Gwen and Jill searched for Fletcher. By nighttime, Jill was really worried, and when her mother came home from work, Jill told her that Fletcher was missing. Suddenly, Jill started to cry. "It'll be all right," said her mother. "A dog like Fletcher can't go far. I'll call the police." This is Jill starting to cry. The policeman said that nobody had called in about a funny-looking dog with a big stomach. Jill's mother on the phone describing Fletcher's big stomach. At school the next day, Gwen asked Jill if there was any news. "He's been gone all night," said Jill. "He never came home." During math class, Jill got the feeling that Fletcher was home safe. She was sure of it. As soon as school was over, Jill and Gwen ran to Jill's house. But Fletcher wasn't there. The police are not going to find Fletcher. The police are not going to find Fletcher. They don't even know him. We have to make a house-to-house search and ask if anybody has seen him. "Not everybody knows what Fletcher looks like," said Jill. You're right," said Gwen. "Get some papers and some crayons." Jill and Gwen each made drawings of Fletcher. Then they were ready to begin their search. The first house they came to was Mr. Hollander's. This is Mr. Hollander. "It's an awfully cute little drawing," said Mr. Hollander. "Which of you girls did it?" "I did. But have you seen Fletcher?" "Well, how long has he been missing?" asked Mr. Hollander. "Since yesterday," said Gwen. "Well, don't worry. My dog goes away for days, but he comes back." As soon as he closed the door, Gwen said, "Why was he in such a hurry to tell us that his dog runs away all the time?" Because he does," said Jill. "He's a huge German shepherd." "I think that man's hiding something," Poke, 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 poke. At the next house, they showed Mrs. Duga the picture. "Ooh, how pretty." "Thank you," said Jill. "Have you seen him by any chance?" "Now, let's see," said Mrs. Duga. "I saw him a few days ago sitting on your front steps." "But have you seen him since yesterday?" asked Gwen. "I don't think so," said Mrs. Duga. "Would you girls like a cookie?" This is Mrs. Duga. These are the cookies. As they walked away, Gwen couldn't play with her braces because she was eating. But she said, "Mrs. Duga went out of her way to tell us she saw Fletcher a couple days ago. Why?" "Oh, stop talking with your mouth full," said Jill, talking with her mouth full. It went on that way all day. Every place they went, Gwen found something that seemed not quite right. The one thing Gwen could not find was Fletcher. Late in the afternoon, they came to a big house that belonged to Fielder Fernbach. Mr. Fernbach was the most famous person in the neighborhood. He made television commercials. One of Fernbach's commercials. This is Fiddler Fernbach. Mr. Fernbach opened the door. "Hi there," he said. "What can I do for you nice little girls?" "My name is Jill, and this is Gwen. My dog is lost, and we're asking everybody if they've seen him." "Nope," said Mr. Fernbach. "Never saw him in my life." He started to close the door. But Mr. Fernbach," said Gwen, sticking her foot in the door. "You don't even know what he looks like." Said Mr. Fernbach, turning pink. "Here's a picture," said Jill. "Oh," said Mr. Fernbach, hardly looking at the picture. "Just as I thought. I haven't seen him." Fernbach, hardly looking at the picture. This is Gwen's foot in the door. He shut the door with a bang. Ouch. "Now this time I'm sure," said Gwen, limping. "It's as plain as Fletcher's nose when Fletcher was around." "Thanks," said Jill. "That cheers me up." "I bet he's stolen Fletcher. He thought he'd get away with it, and then he showed up, and we'll get him." "You're crazy," said Jill. This was Fletcher's nose. "No, I'm not. I finger Fiddler Fernbach for filching Fletcher," yelled Gwen, running up the hill. "Bet you can't say that again," said Jill, catching up to her. "I finger Fiddler Fernbach for filching Fletcher. I finger Fiddler Fernbach filch Fletcher. Fiddler Fernbach filch Fletcher." "Hey," yelled Gwen. "You know what?" "What?" asked Jill, puffing. "Fernbach did do something weird. He said he'd never seen Fletcher before he looked at the picture." "So?" panted Jill. "Well, how come he said he'd never seen Fletcher if he didn't know what Fletcher looked like?" Jill stared at Gwen. "You know," she said, "you really have something." "See?" said Gwen. "Something queer is going on." "Fernbach could only know what Fletcher looks like if he has Fletcher," said Jill. "But what would Fernbach want Fletcher for?" "Well, that's what we've got to find out," said Gwen. "We've got to go back and watch his every move." "It's getting dark," said Jill. "My mother will be worried." "Well, all right. Let's meet in the morning and follow him." "How?" asked Jill. "We'll go to work in his car. Besides, we've got to go to school." Gwen played with her braces. It was a problem. Finally, she said, "Your mother's okay, isn't she?" "Yeah, she's okay," said Jill. "Well, we'll need her," said Gwen. Jill's mother started her car as quietly as she could when Fernbach moved. Gwen and Jill told Jill's mother everything. "So let me get this straight," said Jill's mother. "Fernbach said he had never seen Fletcher before. He even looked at the drawings, and Fernbach slammed the door on you?" Gwen and Jill nodded their heads. "Now you want me to skip work tomorrow and follow Fernbach?" asked Jill's mother. We want to go with you. You also have to write a note to get us out of school." "Well," said Jill's mother, I don't know what I'll tell my boss, and I'll look silly if Fernbach catches me, but I'll do it. The next morning, they got up very early and they drove to Fernbach's house and sat where they were hidden by a big tree. Well, here we are, said Jill's mother. Jill didn't know why, but she wished she had gone to school and never mentioned Fernbach to her mother. Gwen was too excited to talk. The garage door went up. This is what Jill's mother saw in her rearview mirror. Jill's mother started her car as quietly as she could when Fernbach moved. She was ready. Jill's mother almost lost Fernbach at the stoplight. She gunned the motor and caught up. So this is them following. Fernbach stopped in front of a big building. He's just going to work. The whole thing's a joke. Come on, said Jill's mother. We're going to get to the bottom of this. A woman at the desk said, Can I help you? Well, these children are the children for the soap commercial? Said Jill's. Oh, these children are for the soap commercial, said Jill's mother with a big smile. Ah, go right in, said the woman, pointing to a big door marked private. Mother, you're going to get us in trouble. Shh, said Jill's mother. Just then they saw Fernbach go through the door at the end of the hall. Luckily, Fernbach did not see them. That is Fernbach. Let's go, whispered Gwen. Do you think Fletcher's in there? Whispered Jill's mother. I thought you were the one who was sure, Jill whispered back. Ah, we're going in there. It's now or never, said Gwen. It was a big room full of movie equipment and bright lights. Gwen opened the door. In the middle, with a can of food by his side, lay Fletcher. How dare you come in the middle of a shooting, shouted Fernbach. That was Fletcher. Jill ran to Fletcher, who got up and wagged his tail. Fletcher wagging his tail. Cameraman. Oh, that's the first time I've seen that dog move, said a man with a camera. You stole Jill's dog, yelled Gwen, pointing at Fernbach. Fernbach got red in his face. I just borrowed him. You can't borrow a dog without asking, said Jill. Well, I saw him on the street, and he got up, and he followed me, and I didn't know whose dog he was. You're a liar, said Gwen. Yeah, said Jill. You're a big liar. Fletcher didn't follow you because he never follows anyone. You'd be the last person he'd follow. Mr. Fernbach, said Jill's mother, I don't think you're telling the truth. Jill and Gwen are right. You look at Fletcher, and I want you to know. You took Fletcher, and I want to know why. Well, I'll tell you why, said the man with the camera. Your dog is a natural for TV. I've never seen a dog lie so still. Besides, he's got a nice smile. Fernbach would have had to pay you a lot of money to use your dog, and that's why he took it. That's right, lady, said another man. Boy, oh boy, stingy Fernbach. The man who puts up the lights. Filder Fernbach looked as if he wanted to cry. You're a dog napper, said Gwen. Oh, please don't call the police, Fernbach whined. I'll pay you money. Your dog is really perfect for this commercial. He'll be famous. Fernbach looking as if he wanted to cry. Gwen and Jill and her mother went into the corner. I think Fernbach's going to cry, said Jill, looking over her shoulder. I don't know whether we can prove that Fletcher didn't follow him, said Jill's mother. I'm not sure the police can do anything. Well, maybe you should let Fernbach do the commercial and make him pay you, said Gwen. I wouldn't want to make Fletcher a star, but maybe one commercial, said Jill's mother. I really don't want to see Fernbach cry, said Jill. Well, do we agree? Asked Jill's mother. We'll let him do this one commercial? And take the money, said Gwen. I couldn't stand it if Mr. Fernbach started to cry in front of everybody, said Jill. This is Fletcher. He's a star. Jill's mother told Fernbach that they had decided not to call the police. Oh, thank you, thank you. I know you'll love the way he looks in this commercial, said Fernbach, trembling with relief. The day the commercial was on TV, Jill and her mother took part of the money Fletcher had earned and gave a big party. Hooray for Fletcher! Let's see. Mr. Duga's there. Mrs. Duga's there. They've got free hot dogs. Gwen's leading a parade. Jesse's there and Aram. The cameraman's filming it. There's a clown. Jill's mother's handing out ice cream. They've got watermelon ice cream, strawberry, chocolate, vanilla, pistachio, and grape. Fernbach's there, and Mr. Hollander, Jill, the policeman, the light man, and there's a band. Oh, and Linda. She's playing in the band. Fletcher paid for everything, although the party he lay in front of the steps smiling, except when the commercial was on. And at that moment, Fletcher was asleep. Good night. I love you.